Lifelong learning is vital in helping us grow in our capacity to serve God more effectively. As we develop competencies like knowledge and skill, we can contribute more to the teams of which we are a part. In addition, when individuals within an organization are learning and growing, it helps the organization become a learning organization that can readily adapt to meet challenges and seize new opportunities. Peter Senge, a key contributor to the field of organizational learning, defines learning organizations as organizations where people continually expand their capacity to create results they truly desire, where new and expansive patterns of thinking are nurtured, where collective aspiration is set free, and where people are continually learning how to learn together. David Hutchins, in his book Outlearning the Wolves, Surviving and Thriving in a Learning Organization, shares a story that points to the importance of organizational learning. Imagine a world of wolves and sheep. Wolves eat sheep. Any questions? The wolves posed a constant threat to the sheep. Still, over the years, the flock got bigger and bigger. The occasional loss, though very sad, was to be expected. One day, Otto, one of the sheep, says, "I have a dream. I dream of a day when not another sheep will ever die to become breakfast for a wolf." "But even the fence cannot keep the wolves away," said Curly. "Wolves learn very quickly." "Then we must learn even more quickly," said Otto. "We will become a learning flock." The flock decided to huddle together at night to protect themselves. Otto kept watch as the sky darkened and the flock fell asleep. The next morning, Otto was gone. Marietta climbs on a rock to address the flock. Maybe the wolves aren't as unstoppable as we think. However, something is stopping them at least some of the time. "Marietta's right," piped up Johnny. "The wolves only seem to come at a certain time." "When we had the drought, the wolves seemed to come much more often," muses Curly. "Maybe the wolves aren't jumping over the fence. It's pretty high, and I don't think any animal is that strong." Later that afternoon, all the sheep came back together and talked about their ideas and to inspect the fence. "Look," said Curly as he points to some wolf fur on the barbed wire above the creek that flows into their pasture. "The wolves crawl under the fence when there's a drought." "Well, we can't control the weather," Giggy said, "but we can control the flow of water." As Diggy dug a hole, Jerome built a dam, and Shep pulled thorns from hooves, a small pond formed around the fence. The flock now had a beautiful place where they could gather and drink and play. But best of all, the wolves stopped coming. The book ends with a picture of a pack of wolves on the wolf side of the fence, armed with dynamite, a welding torch, and other tools. Apparently, sheep aren't the only ones who can learn. This humorous story is an example of how groups can become learning groups as individuals open themselves up to new ways of thinking and doing. It's easy for us to get stuck in ruts when it comes to our thought patterns. One of the best ways to break out of those ruts is to expose ourselves to divergent ideas, even ideas that appear radical or may seem impossible. When we reflect meaningfully on new ideas, they can create dissonance in our lives. We begin to realize that perhaps our current ways of thinking are inadequate and we need to deepen or expand them. This growth process can be painful. However, the reward is a greater openness to new possibilities and an increased capacity to seize related opportunities. Let me share some practical ways that we can expose ourselves to new ways of thinking. Number 1, read, listen, and watch widely. Today we have instant access to a wealth of information. I can read a blog, download an ebook, listen to a podcast, and watch a YouTube video in a very short period of time. Of course, not everything on the internet is helpful. We must be discerning about the information we digest, and we also need to take the necessary time to reflect meaningfully on the ideas that seem important. How might these ideas help me grow in my relationship with God? How can they help me serve Him more effectively? How might they help me address a current challenge or opportunity? How might they position me to better live out God's calling on my life? Deep application of important ideas takes time and intentional effort. A second way to expose ourselves to new ways of thinking is to engage in training. A while back, I had the privilege of attending a renovated parenting conference put on by Ministry Lift. I came away with many ideas. Some were new, while others were great reminders. For the last part of each session, we had an opportunity to work through questions in table groups. It was a great way of extending and personalizing the content. Taking time out of our busy schedule to attend a training event can help us think in better ways about what is important to us. A third way to expand our thinking is to mine the knowledge and skills in others. Everyone is an expert in something. As we chat with people, we have a tremendous opportunity to learn from them. What are they passionate about? Where have we seen them excel? I recently did a workshop on raising up global kids. As a part of my research for the presentation, I asked a friend what she and her husband did to raise up global kids. I knew they had done an amazing job in this area, and I wanted to learn from them. Every interaction is an opportunity to learn from others. The fourth way is to interact with people who ask good questions. There's nothing like a thought-provoking question to propel us toward new ways of thinking. We need to hang out with people who ask stimulating questions. These questions should not be leading questions that push us in a prescribed direction. A good question should simply expand or deepen our thinking. Interacting with people who ask good questions can happen spontaneously, or we can find a coach or mentor with whom we meet regularly. Another way that we can expand our thinking is to debrief and learn from life experiences. Earlier on, I emphasized the importance of letting life train us. A key part of this training process is to take time to reflect on what has happened in our lives. What is God trying to teach me? What could I have done differently? How might I strengthen my approach next time? What is holding me back in this area? We can do this kind of debriefing as a solo exercise where we pray and listen to God's perspective, journal, or just get away to a quiet place to think. We may also benefit from debriefing with people we trust. The support, prayers, questions, and wise counsel of others can help us make sense of how we might best view past events, respond in current situations, and improve our responses in the future. My father-in-law is a lifelong learner. Even at age 87, he is still reading books and magazines, asking good questions that help him go deeper in his understanding and that often help others grow in their understanding as well. And he's still thinking deeply about how he might live and serve better. I want to follow his example. As Stephen Covey has said, the key to success is dedication to lifelong learning. This learning approach to life helps us to break free from entrenched ways of thinking and to embrace better ways that help us grow and serve God more effectively.